Hello, everybody, and welcome back to AutoKnerd. I'm your host, Andrew Sardone, and today we're going to be talking about delivery. So over the past 10 or so episodes, we've been talking a lot about rewards of the sale. We haven't even been able to dive into the techie stuff yet, and I'm excited to get to it. But a couple more episodes, we're going to get through this road to sale stuff, and then we will get into the tech. Now, the tech really starts here, which is why I'm mentioning it. Delivery is the area that we have to impress the customer the most. Now, obviously, leading up to the sale, with your walk around, your needs assessment, all of that fun stuff, customer has to be impressed with you. They have to be impressed with the vehicle. We can't just leave them hanging. The thing is, though, is that at delivery, there's two main goals that at the end we have to make sure we do well. And so the first one is a great last impression of us. This is critical because if we want to make a career in this business, the customer needs to remember our name, right? So kind of like I put mine right there, and you should probably be clicking that subscribe button right down there. So, just go ahead, click that real quick. There you go. Thank you. All right. Now, with delivery, the thing is that the customer has to remember who you are. If they don't remember who you are, then you're going to run into problems later on. And so mainly the customer is just never going to come back to you, which is kind of a big problem. So how do we get this customer coming back? Well, we got to start our delivery off on the right foot. Let's talk about how to prep for this thing. First and foremost, how did your sale go? Did your sale go where it's a spot now, where we're just going ahead and delivering this thing right at the same day? If so, congratulations. I guess spot deliveries are becoming rarer and rarer. In addition to that, is this a delivery that might take a little bit, right? Getting in the finance is going to take, let's say, 45 minutes to an hour, right? Finance managers are subject to waiting for the banks. I mean, we can gripe about our F&I director all day long, but whether they're a great person, terrible person, it doesn't matter. They are at the whim of the bank. So if the bank's not getting back to them, or the customer is looking at this thing going, "Hey, this is a terrible," or the F&I director is looking at this thing going, "This is a terrible deal for the customer. I'm not going to go this direction." And kudos to you if you're an F&I director listening to this, and if you take on that attitude, you are unlike a lot of the people that are out there, right, hunting for good deals for those customers from the umpteen banks that you work with. So let's say we got 45 minutes to get into F&I. If we have that much time to get into F&I, that means we have time to take care of some of the delivery. This is a new thing that's going on in the industry, which is becoming more commonplace. And if you end up doing it, it helps you out an awful lot. Mainly, answer this one question for me. Customer goes into finance. When they leave finance, what do they ultimately always want to do? Leave. Since the customer wants to leave, what you could do during that amount of time pre-finance is start delivering the car. Now, some people will look at this and go, "Well, we can't deliver the car yet because, we don't have the books." Well, most of the books have been digitized these days. So if your deal jacket with the owner's manual is behind lock and key and an angry gatekeeper and, some person, some accountant in the back office that will just yell at anybody who's not the F&I director for even stepping in their office to even look at an owner's manual in the first place. First off, shame on you, that person. We need answers. And sometimes they're in the owner's manuals. You're just going to have to deal with us. Secondly, you should also be able to go ahead and get most of that stuff off your manufacturer's web pages. So take a look, see if they have a support page for the customers. If they do, awesome. Hop in, see if you can download the owner's manuals. And if you can then start to go through some of that stuff with the customer pre-F&I. Now, some of you might be hearing this going, "Well, what the heck's the point? The car may not even go down the road." In that case, even better, because here's the thing with individuals who may be coming in who have kind of rough credit. If it comes down to the fact that they go in the finance and they can't get the car, you just spend another 45 minutes or an hour with them, impressing on them the fact that this vehicle is the absolute best for them. So if they got to get a co-signer, if they need to come up with some extra cash, if they have to improve their credit, and it's going to take time, they will remember the good service that you gave them, and you didn't go ahead and, slap a credit app down in front of them right off the bat. You didn't tell them no off the bat. You didn't treat them terribly. And and if you remember from the last podcast, I talked about salesperson, sales consultants, right? The consultant's there to counsel you. Sales consultant is somebody that is going to be there to care for you, the customer. Salesperson, on the other end, We got to step up our game if we're on that end of things, right? You have to show empathy when it comes to people that aren't able to purchase, but they're genuinely interested. Those are the people that will eventually fix their credit and they will come back on in and buy a car, right? So, and also with that individual, because they like you, their closing ratio goes up. Also, because they like you and you spent time with them in the beginning, the gross profit also increases. Kind of cool, huh? Because a gross profit and the customer's desire to get the vehicle are directly attached to each other through the experience that you offer. So now, during that 45 minutes to an hour that you're sitting around with the customer, go through whatever you can in the owner's manual. If they bought the blue car and it's in it's in the wash bay getting washed, simply go ahead, grab the black one, the red one, whatever. Just make sure that vehicle that you're about to swing around and cover with the customer is of equal or lesser trim. Reason being is that if the customer bought a mid-range model and they couldn't afford the premium model or the model with the premium features, you don't want to sit them in a vehicle with all the premium stuff, especially if you were smart about it and you didn't show them that vehicle in the first place because you knew it was out of their pocketbook, and then instantly start to set in buyer's remorse because they can't have that. It's not gonna be nice to them. So do what you can. Pull around an equal or lesser trim vehicle and start walking them through just the basic stuff, right? Here's how the computer works in the car. Here's how the radio works. You don't need to program anything. You're going to do that on their own vehicle when they swing it around. But when you are working with them, this affords them the extra time they may need to go ahead and say, hey, these items are a little bit complicated. I need a little bit of help with these. Or this particular item here, I'm genuinely just not interested in it, but I know it is important. Go ahead, let's hammer through it real quick. So by going and spending that time with the customer pre-F&I, you might be able to get the whole delivery done. If you can't, you at least prep the customer to expedite that delivery when they leave finance. But I should probably explain to you why exactly we do this whole deliver up front, right? Deliver pre-F&I. The reason that we go ahead and do our delivery pre-F&I, number one, customer wants to get out of here. We just covered that. Number two is the fact that when we are working with the customer, their brain is active. If the customer becomes bored, let's say you're working at that dealership and you're told, hey, go sit your customer down in front of the TV over there and they'll be just fine. Hold on a second. Let me just ask you a question. Do you want to sit in a waiting room with a bunch of people that you don't know, watching crappy soap operas from who knows how long ago you needed to start watching it to go ahead and actually figure out what the story is? And you as a person are just genuinely not interested in that, but yet you're being told by somebody who just helped you purchase or attempt to purchase the coolest toy that you've ever bought, and now they're telling you to go ahead and sit down and watch some crappy TV. You're going to get frustrated as a customer that you have to go through this. You're then going to get bored. And then as you get bored, because you're just not interested in what's on the television. If you haven't noticed, I really don't watch soap operas or care for them because of that. So in addition to that, after you get bored, you get frustrated. If you get frustrated again, you get angry. And as you get angry and you're going, man, somebody should be here helping me out, all of a sudden you start prepping the customer at this point to start tanking on the survey, right? Things like time, like the amount of time it takes is just going to erode your personal survey on down. Also, you're taking away future income from yourself, not just affecting your survey scores, you're affecting your own future pay because that customer is never coming back to you, right? Little story. So when I was selling, I left a Game Boy on my desk, and it was right in this F&I wait time wheelhouse. And I was brand new in the business. I really had no idea other than, standing around taking fresh ups when they came on in and sitting there playing with my Game Boy and just waiting, right? Brand new in the business. But I noticed something all of a sudden is that I did receive a couple of surveys back that hurt me for time, and I just didn't quite figure it out until I saw this. Went ahead, left my Game Boy on the desk. Walk away from the customer, let the customer know, give me about half an hour, I'll be right with you. Half an hour passes. I come on back, I look at the customer and I said, okay, we're ready. Hold on a second. I'm almost done with this level. What? I thought you wanted your car. Hold on. I'm almost done with this level. See what happened here. And this particular customer did not kill me on the survey. And so I went back and I really thought about, hey, what happened here that made this customer happy? And what made the customer happy was their brain was engaged. They didn't have the ability to get bored like sitting in a class that you just genuinely just don't like, right? I mean, I'm sure we've all been in, sat in high school, middle school, college, and we are just in that class, bored out of our skull, looking at the clock, and you could actually hear the second hands move because you were so stinking bored. Getting the customer to be active, getting the brain to be active, makes time move differently. And each person that walks this planet experiences time in their own way. Of course, the clock always moves at the same speed, but for each of us, we're going to experience those seconds differently. If you're sat in a class that you love, you'll walk in the door, walk out, time flies, right? For me, that was engine operations and electronics and all sorts of technical items. But when I would go, for example, to home economics, any accounting class, physics, well, actually physics I loved, but when it comes down to those, I was bored. It wasn't my bag. So those classes, an hour-long class, would feel like 3 hours. Keeping the customer active, keeping them engaged is going to help your surveys out in a lot of ways. It's also going to help your delivery out too, because if you can't cover everything pre-F&I, when the customer leaves finance and insurance, they will then come on over to you going, hey man, dude, that person I just talked to, they have way too much access. I am so creeped out right now because, my whole life was wrapped up in that deal. It's okay. It's okay. This is just what buying a car is like. So come on with me. Let's go teach you some more cool stuff about your car. All right, I'm cool. I'm with you. Making that customer your friend, right? For all intents and purposes. Pre-F&I, right? Investing the time in needs assessment, investing the time in building that relationship with the customer is going to give the customer the ability to look at you and go, hey, you're safe, right? I'm done with that. I got the car. I own the thing. Let's talk about the car. Teach me about this. Most people just want to run out the door. But if you can make yourself look like, hey, you know what? I'm that savior. Come on out. You're done with F&I. No more scary person over there. Not to say all F&I people are scary. Some F&I people just go about it in ways that frighten the customer. It's a known fact. So you got the customer. It's time to deliver. It's after F&I. First thing that you do. Well, try this one. The last thing you want to do, we'll start there, is to let the customer drive off in the vehicle, which means the last thing I want to do is walk the customer out to their car. Okay. So once the customer's at their car, you don't want to ever bring them back in. It's just bad. And the reason for this is that the customer's like, okay, I'm good to go. Oh, wait, hold on. There's another piece of paperwork. Oh, groan. I don't want to be there with this. So, even us asking the customer to come back on in after they've been at their vehicle, ready to leave, we don't like doing it, mainly because it ticks the customer off. So if you are a manager and you're listening, go out and meet the customer. Don't tell your sales consultant, oh, bring the customer back on in. Heck no. If I was your sales consultant, I'd flat out tell you no. I'd tell you to get off your butt and go outside and go do it yourself. Now, if you are a manager, do yourself a favor. Walk out there, talk to the customer, talk to your sales consultant. All right. Again, this is somebody that you're going to want to bring in as family, right? You want them to come back. Service is the primary revenue generator of any well-established store. It's not sales. Right, it's sales. We have the fun job, right? We're not. Well, I don't know. It really depends on your definition of fun. But we have the job that we interact with the people, right? In the back, they interact with the cars, right? Again, in the back, it's car business. Up front, it's a people business. So we gotta stay on top of our product knowledge, but we have to stay on top of customer experience or CX, because if the customer experience falls now, all the good stuff that you just did through needs assessment, through negotiation, through all of that, is about to crumble and fall apart. So when you go out to when you start giving your customer a walkthrough, last thing is to drive away. So the car we want to see last. First thing that we need to do is walk them back to service. Okay. Now, one thing to help you all out with setting this thing up as a career, it sure helped me out a lot, is go back and learn who your service writers are. I'll say that again. Learn who they are. Don't just become friends with them. Get to know them well, right? Pick one and let them know, hey, all of my business is coming to you. Maybe take them out to lunch, set up a verbal agreement. Because here's the thing, service writers get paid in a very similar fashion as to we do if we're commission-based. Every deal that they write in service comes back to them in smaller increments because they deal with a lot more deals, so to speak, every day. But when they do go ahead and write up service, they get paid on that. And the more customers that we can give them, the better that they can live their personal lives. So we need to go ahead and allow service the shot at retaining that customer. Now, if the customer can be retained and they come back for many, many years, let's say the customer's back, 2, 3, 4, 5 years. If you say hi to them just every time they come in, your closing ratio is going to go up because they're going to remember your name and they're going to know that, hey, I can go back to you. You did a great job last time and you're safe, right? Keep in mind, when people are shopping for cars, they're not really shopping for the car. They're shopping for somebody to buy it from that doesn't really aggravate them or tick them off. And if you've proven that you're a good person, and that's really all it takes, people come back to you. Same thing with restaurants. Same thing with, anywhere that you shop. If you enjoy going there because of the people, you continue going back. If you go to the same store on the other side of town, you don't like people, you don't go to that one. You keep driving past it, you go to another one. So here, it's no different. We have to, at the end, get the customer to understand, hey, I'm in it for you. We introduce them to service. Service goes ahead, sets them up with their first service appointment. If that's what your manufacturer does, cool. If not, cool. Just make sure you introduce them to service and that service writer knows that that is your customer. Okay. So when the service writer deals with the customer later on in their life and they have that $3,000 to $5,000 out of warranty service that they just were surprised with and don't want to pay, you want the service writer to know that you are going to be safe enough for them to deliver that customer back to you so they can then go ahead and get that customer back from you. Okay. Most service writers will simply go ahead and say, okay, it's going to be $3,000 to $5,000. There's the cashier. Go ahead and pay for it. And then that customer's gone. And seriously, as a sales consultant, weigh your options here. Are you going to give your customer to somebody that you don't know with the hope that they will sell them and bring them back? Or are you going to go ahead and try to get the big last paycheck out of that customer? Because if it's me, if I don't know who I'm handing them over to, I'm getting the big last paycheck out of that customer and saying goodbye. Because once you hit somebody with a $5,000 out of warranty service, they don't come back. And if they do, it's begrudgingly, and they will never buy a car from you again. So buddy up with your service writers. Know who they are. For those of you that have been in the business a while, maybe start calling the customers and assisting your service writers in setting up those service appointments, right? Follow-up, I'll cover that next time. A huge deal with follow-up. And follow-up, that should be our last one, and then we'll move into some techie stuff. So after you're done with service, you walk them out to their vehicle. Okay, you've gone through the books, pre-F&I. You went ahead and you walked them through as much as you could on a different model. The vehicle is cleaned. Before you get them from F&I, spend a couple minutes with the vehicle. Make sure that it is cleaned up. Now, you have to verify this work, because when you deliver the vehicle to the wash bay and it's in back, it's getting detailed, going through that thing, making sure it's going to be pristine. We're all human. Detail may miss a part, right? There might be some plastic, some rubber band stuck to something that, and people just want to see all the packaging taken off of their vehicle. So go out to the vehicle, take a hot lap around it. As you're taking your lap around the vehicle, take a very close look for things like extra soap, dirt, maybe a scratch that popped up. If you do find damage at this point, get your manager involved first. Then go to the customer. Reason for this is that you want the manager to give you the solution to the problem. Like, oh, hey, there's a scratch in the car. Our ding and dent and repair guy for scratches comes on in on this day. It's not the customer's problem. Okay, let's not make it the customer's problem, because that's how we kill our surveys and also kill future money out of this customer as well. So if there is an issue with the vehicle, go out, get the answer. And then when you're presenting the vehicle to the customer, let them know, hey, on Thursday, our paint guy's in. I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to drop a vehicle off. Yes, I said that. You are going to drop a vehicle off, not leave them stranded, not transport them around. Okay, if you're a manager listening to this, find a way to make that happen, because it's not the customer's problem at that point in time. All right, because the vehicle had damage that was done from you, not from them. So we got to make good on this. And most people, when you go, hey, here's the solution and here's what we're going to do, it's only going to benefit you with this. Heck, I'll go ahead and I'll drop a sports car off at your house just so you can go ahead and have a great time. What's your favorite car here? Not a problem. You want to drive it for the day? We can do that. We send cars home with people all the time on test drives. This isn't much different. Give them a vehicle. If it's in test drive, just let them go ahead and drive in that. If it's a rental, cool, but figure out a way for the customer not to have to pay for that because it's not their fault. Pretty simple. You would be ticked if somebody went ahead and did that to you. So you got the solution. You told the customer, everything's cool. Good. Now we're out of the car. So when you're out of the car giving your presentation on the vehicle, right, your delivery presentation, rely on the needs assessment. Still, at this point in time, you have those 5 to 7 things that the customer wrote down or said that they needed on the vehicle or heavily desired on the vehicle. Show those. Get that out of the way. So when you see on your surveys that you're getting hammered on functionality over and over and over again, it's usually because you missed one of 2 things. One, you missed the most complicated things that the manufacturer is asking you to deliver on. Every manufacturer right now has to deal with a set list of items on the car that just hurt it for either things like quality, durability, readiness, whatever it might be. And they usually ask their consultants to cover those things at delivery because they're critically important. Hey, we're having issues with our nav. Seems pretty complicated for most customers. Please cover it at delivery. Just go ahead and do it. Now, the other side of this is those items from the manufacturer. The other items are going to be the ones that the customer desired. If you miss those, and all it takes is for you to miss one of those 5 to 7 things that the customer really cared about for them to take you on the survey. So we got to cover those. So this is why I tell you so often that when you sit down for needs assessment where the closing all starts, make sure you write them all down on a piece of paper. Okay, stuff them in your pocket, right? If you have to, and it's just easier for you, or you want to save it immediately, scan it with your phone, right? So you can just pull it back up, maybe even your photos or something later, and go, okay, here's the items. I'm not text messaging while I'm talking to you. I just want you to know that here's the items that I need to cover first that you really want on the car, and I'm gonna make sure that you know these. Okay, cool. Because if those are the most important items, well, they're probably going to use those the most aggressively, right? And if they don't know how to use one of those items, it's going to come back and bite you on your survey. So you just want to stay out of that area. So once you've gone through the whole vehicle, I challenge you, don't touch the car. This is a very difficult one to do, but adults are typically physical learners. So we have to touch buttons, pull levers in order to engage memory. So if we're simply being told something, usually it goes in one ear, falls out the other. It doesn't just go out. We just tend to have it fall out. We hear something and all of a sudden it disappears. So if you're going around the vehicle with the customer, or as you're going around the vehicle with the customer, don't touch the car. Be cordial, right? Open the doors, take a seat, that sort of thing. But if there's push buttons on the doors, have them push the buttons. Hey, here's the key. Now push that button on the door. Okay, they push the button on the door unlocks. Now they know that's how I unlock my car. They get inside the vehicle. Okay, start button's right there, or you stick the key here, and that's how it works. Have them do those motions. Because as they're going through those motions, they're going to be able to start to retain some of that information. Now, are they going to remember it all? No, it's impossible, right? The human brain can only remember like 5 to 7 things within the matter of an hour. How could I expect them to remember everything at delivery? So cover those 5 to 7 things that the customer really wanted to know, and then go through the stuff the manufacturer wanted to know. But again, have them push all the buttons. Now, for some vehicles that have, let's say, Android Auto and Apple CarPlay, sit them in the car, ask them, hey, this is the nav system. Would you like me to show you the nav system? Oh, no, I'll never use it. Say it's an old timer. Okay, but you know how to use, let's say, Apple Maps or Google Maps on your phone? Oh, yeah, I use it all the time as I'm driving. Right? Hold it in front of me. Well, that's not scary, old timer, driving with your phone like this. No, please don't ever do that. But what we can do is we can plug your phone in, and here's Apple CarPlay and Android Auto. Now, at this point, there's a very little learning curve with Apple CarPlay. Apple does a very good job making it fairly seamless for somebody to go, oh, hey, that's my phone. Yes, it is your phone. Why can't I see my text messages? Well, because you're driving. Siri's going to read them to you. And then with Android Auto, there is a little bit of a speed bump with that, which is okay, right? Android's got their whole awesome thing going on over there. But just keep in mind that there might be a little speed bump in the road for that particular customer, and you don't want to just leave them hanging. So if they do have an Android or they do have an iPhone, just walk them through the basics. Hey, here's the green buttons for phone, text message, here's maps, here's how you use it. But you know what? The heck with all of that. Just go ahead and hit that voice button somewhere inside your vehicle and say, hey, Siri. And as you engage the verbal assistant, it will then execute those particular commands. So with that, just keep in mind, you got that fallback, right? You don't need to walk the customer through a complicated system if you know that they're not going to retain any of that information, or if you know that it's going to kill your survey, right? Or if you know, hey, this is just going to take way too much time. The customer's not going to receive any benefit out of this. I talked to them in the beginning. I know exactly who they are. I know their temperament. I went on the test drive with them. I paid attention. And when it comes down to the computers in the car, this customer ain't in on that. So here's Android Auto, Apple CarPlay. Let's make their life a little bit easier. So in addition, connected systems, if you have them, right? Things like your OnStars, your Blue Links, your Kia Connect. When it comes to these type of systems, it's like delivering another car on top of another car. Take some time, slow down. Okay, you will have people that barely know how to use their smartphone, and you are going to go ahead and tell them, now your car has an app and it interacts with the phone, and you're going to show them blazing fast a ton of buttons. They will be confused. Go over, give them a launching pad. Go over the things that you know that they will use. So if they were super excited about, oh, now I can start the car from my phone. Yeah, you can. Cover that, right? And on top of that, hey, you can also adjust the temperature. Oh my gosh, so start there. The customer will start to play with the phone. Once they figure out that, hey, this thing starts the vehicle, this thing does all this other crazy stuff, they will start to play with it. And they may have questions. And this is why follow-up's important. I'll cover that next week. But your delivery should be fun. It should be enjoyable. It should be exciting. It's at one time that the customer's receiving their brand new toy for all intents and purposes. You know, I mean, it's like a Hot Wheels car that we get to get on into. Get the customer to love it. You get the customer to love you. Get them to remember you. And then, as they're leaving, take a photo of you, them, and their brand new car all smiling. So whether it's you with like a selfie stick, or you go ahead and you grab another sales consultant or a service writer, whoever it is, hey, can you take a photo of us real quick? Take a photo, and then just before their survey hits, send them the photo, right? Every manufacturer sends them at different rates, but if you know that rate, send them that photo a couple days after they take delivery of the car, or just before, like a day before that survey is going to hit. And that will bubble up the positive feelings again. Because 4 or 5, 10 days go by, then the customer gets the survey. A lot of those positive feelings have started to dwindle. And then here's logic coming on up and going, well, this could have been done better, and this could have been done better. Man, that service writer. So here's the thing, or F&I. So here's the thing with this, is that if I go ahead and give them that positive feeling back and it resonates with them again, people don't tank their friends on surveys. They just don't. They look at it and they go, you know what? I'm going to give this person 1,000 points, 100 points, 1 billion points, whatever your manufacturer does, you know, A's across the board, because I like them. I want to see them succeed. And we always return to buy things from people we know, like, and trust. So they're not going to hurt you on the survey. All right, gang, please go ahead, click that subscribe button if you got something out of this. I'm trying to go ahead and bring you the best content that I can so far with a brand new channel here. Lots of cool stuff going on my end to help facilitate that. But please click that subscribe button. It does help me help you. In addition to that, there is also the audio podcast. You just go to AutoKnerd.com and it will bring you right to that audio podcast. So for some reason, you just want to catch up on the first few, the first few episodes, they're all on AutoKnerd.com because we started in audio and then we moved on over to video. So take a look over there. Hopefully it'll help you. And if you have any questions, please post them in the chat. Or if you found that something about the video, as somebody last week did this, and it was really awesome, and I'm trying on this one too. They told me my audio is too low. I'm trying to turn it up. So if you see something that might just need to be edited, just let me know. Helps me, help you. I want to give you the best content possible and help you be as successful as you possibly can be in this world of selling cars. So anyways, this is Andrew from AutoKnerd signing off. I'll talk to you later. Happy selling.